Welcome back to my channel, and in this video we are going to learn about the use of phosphatidylinositol, sphingosine, eicosanoids and steroid hormones. So phosphatidylinositols and sphingosine derivatives, they act as intracellular signals. Now as you can see here, a pathway is shown of phosphatidylinositol that function as an intracellular signals. Now phosphatidylinositol, it is present in the plasma membrane. It gets phosphorylated with the help of ATP to form phosphatidylinositol 4,5 biphosphate. Now, this compound is broken down into inositol 1,4,5 triphosphate and diacylglycerol with the help of phospholipase C. This phospholipase C degrades this phosphatidylinositol 1,5 biphosphate when stimulated by hormone due to presence of or when after receiving signal, lipase will degrade this phosphatidylinositol 1,4,5 biphosphate. If you remember structurally how it looks, this is the backbone of glycerol. Here, fatty acid, second position, again fatty acid. Here, phosphate. And with this phosphate, inositol is attached. So what phospholipase do? Phospholipase break this bond. So when this bond get broken down, the two compounds formed are this inositol, which was already phosphorylated at 4 and 5th position. Now, because of this phosphate, it became triphosphate, that is inositol 1,4,5 triphosphate. And what is left is glycerol with this two fatty acid. That means diacylglycerol. Now, this diacylglycerol, it still remains attached with the plasma membrane. But this inositol 1,4,5 triphosphate, they enter inside the cell and they stimulate the release of intracellular calcium. Now this calcium helps in the regulation of other enzymes, as well as this calcium along with this diacylglycerol, they activate protein kinase C. So protein kinase means it helps in the phosphorylation of other proteins or enzyme, thereby making them activate. So once it activates other molecules, the signal transduction process proceeds. So it helps in the regulation of other enzyme by protein phosphorylation. So phosphatidylinositol, it is present in the plasma membrane. First, it gets phosphorylated at 4 and 5th position. Then with the help of phospholipase C, and when this phospholipase C will break down this compound, when it will get the signal. So the signal it is hormone sensitive. When it will get the signal caused by hormone, it will break the compound into two halves, that is inositol 1,4,5 triphosphate and diacylglycerol. So diacylglycerol still remains attached with the plasma membrane and inositol enter inside the cell, help in the release of intracellular calcium from sarcoplasmic reticulum, which helps in the regulation of other enzymes. And also along with diacylglycerol, it activates protein kinase C. So as the name suggests, protein kinase means it phosphorylates other protein or enzyme or any other molecule. So when any protein or molecule gets phosphorylated, it becomes activated. Hence, it continues the signal process. So here, the same thing it is written, phosphatidylinositol 4,5 biphosphate. It serves as a specific binding site for certain cytoskeleton proteins and some soluble proteins that involve in membrane fusion during exocytosis. And they also serve as a reservoir of messenger molecules released inside the cell in response to extracellular signals. Now, membrane sphingolipids, they also serve as a source of intracellular messengers, both ceramide and sphingomyelin. Ceramide, if you remember the structure, the backbone is sphingosine and the X group is H. So that is the ceramide compound. So ceramide and sphingomyelin, these are potent regulator of protein kinase, and ceramides or its derivatives are involved in cell division, differentiation, migration, and as well as in programmed cell death. So these are the processes where phosphatidylinositol and sphingosine work as a intracellular signals. Eicosanoids, they carry messages to nearby cells. Eicosanoids are paracrine hormone. In case of hormone, mostly you heard of endocrine hormone. So endocrine hormone means they released from the cell, enter into the blood, and through blood it travel to the target cell. So the cell which release this hormone and its target site are far apart. Whereas in paracrine hormone, the cells which release the hormone and the target cell are in close vicinity. So when the hormones act in close vicinity, those hormones are known as paracrine hormone. So where it functions, eicosanoid, they function in case of reproduction. They have important role in inflammation, fever, pain associated with injury or disease, helps in the formation of blood clots, regulation of blood pressure, gastric acid secretion, and variety other important processes that involves human health and diseases. So this is eicosanoids, prostaglandins, thromboxane, and leukotrienes. These are the three types of eicosanoids. So the basic parent molecule from which the eicosanoids are formed is the arachidonic acid. So this is the parent molecule from where the eicosanoids are derived. Now here it is written NSAID, that is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, because eicosanoids like this prostaglandin, they play an important role in inflammation. So whenever we have too much of inflammation in our body, so that time to stop that inflammation or to protect our body from that inflammation, the drugs we take is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So what they do, they stop this pathway. They stop the production of prostaglandins and thromboxane. Because they are not produced, so the inflammation won't be there. So because they are produced from arachidonic acid, so these drugs stop the pathway of conversion of arachidonic acid to these eicosanoids. Now in case of prostaglandin, it is a 5-membered ring. Prostaglandin, the name derived from prostate gland, because this compound has been first identified in prostate gland. Now it has two varieties, that is PGE, that means ether soluble, and PGF, that means phosphate buffer soluble. So this F and P, pronunciation wise, both sounds with F. So that's why it is PGF. Now it also has multiple subtypes like PGE1, PGE2, and so on. Similarly, PGF1, F2, and so on. They regulate synthesis of cyclic AMP. They have a wide range of cellular and tissue function. For example, they help in the contraction of smooth muscle in the uterus, mainly during menstruation and labor. They help in blood flow to specific organs. They maintain our wake-sleep cycle. They also performed in the responsiveness of certain tissue to hormones such as epinephrine and glucagon. Prostaglandins are responsible for fever and cause inflammation and pain. So that's why when we have too much of inflammation or pain, so these painkillers or these anti-inflammatory drugs, these are used, and what they do is they stop the conversion of arachidonic acid to prostaglandins. Now eicosanoids, these are 6-membered rings, help in the formation of blood clots. These drugs, for example, aspirin, ibuprofen, they inhibit the enzyme prostaglandin H2 synthase, which is also known as cyclooxygenase or COX, and hence the conversion is not made. Now coming to leukotrienes, these are powerful biological agents. Leukotrienes, so that means formed by leukocytes, white blood cells. So this is leukotriene A4. From A4, one compound is formed that is called leukotriene D4. They induce contraction in the muscle lining in the airways of the lungs. So overproduction of leukotrienes, it causes asthmatic attack because it contracts the lining of the lungs muscle. Now next is steroid hormones. Now steroid hormones means they are derived from sterols. If you remember the structure of sterols, it has 4 rings and alkyl group is attached from the 17th position and alkyl chain is attached and also has polar head. So steroids are derivative of sterols, but they lack this alkyl chain. Now example of steroid hormones, all the male and female sex hormones are the steroid hormones, as well as hormone produced from adrenal cortex, that is cortisol and aldosterone. Now prednisone and prednisolone, these are steroid drugs having anti-inflammatory activities. So they also inhibit the synthesis of leukotriene, prostaglandins and thromboxane. Now medical application is these steroid hormones include helps in the treatment of asthma and rheumatoid arthritis. Now plant use phosphatidylinositol, steroids and eicosanoid-like compounds in signaling. Now IP3, they help to regulate intracellular concentration of calcium. Brasinosteroids, they help in the increase of the rate of stem elongation, influence the orientation of cellulose microfibrils. Jasmonate, it is chemically similar to eicosanoid. Eicosanoid is found in animal tissue. Jasmonate is found in plant tissue. So this jasmonate is equal to eicosanoid. And what it function in plant? It helps to different plant from insect related damages. Now this jasmonate, because it has jasmine smell, so therefore it is also used in perfume industry. So one question from my end for you all, that is why steroid, not hormones, steroid drugs are used for treatment of asthma. Do let me know in the comment section. If you found the video informative, please do like, share and subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon for the next video notification. Till then, stay safe, stay happy.